Hey YouTube land, Tycanders here doing another action figure review, and today we are having a look at another one of the Jazwares Stranger Things World of Stranger Things scale Hunt and Battle Dustin. So I previously reviewed this guy, the Demogorgon, and we are going to have a look at Dustin. So before we have a look at the figure within the box, well, the figure that's contained within the box, we shall have a look at the box itself. Now, there's 3 figures available here in Ireland at the moment, 2 of which I've done a review, or have done reviews of. So you have Dustin, and this is the Demogorgon box. As you can see, the boxes are identical. The only difference being the name for the actual character, and the illustration on the back of the box, which we will get into in a second. So, but as you can see, the name on the front is pretty much identical, and even the size of the packaging is identical. Now, I should say there is 3 different scales so far that I'm aware of. So there is this Hunt and Battle World of Stranger Things scale. Then they have a 6-inch scale. So if I flip around the back of the box, you can see the differences on the back of the boxes are pretty much, the Demogorgon shows 11 and Dustin, where because this is Dustin's box, it shows the Demogorgon and 11. So there is 2 versions of 11 out there. Now, I got this from Smith's. I'll throw a link in the description of this video below to the Smith site. A little note, a side note on the Smith site about these. Something is very annoying. Maybe if you're a fellow Irish collector of figures like I am, you might reach out to them and ask them why. So when they originally listed the Stranger Things sets, they have a bunch of all the different scales. So there's a 6-inch scale, and then there's a 12-inch scale Demogorgon. There's 6-inch scale figures of Dustin, 11, and a Demogorgon. There's this one, which is Dustin, 11 again, and the Demogorgon in the smaller 3¼ inch scale. What they also had listed for pre-order, or for like coming soon but hadn't any in stock, is they had the radio station headquarters set, or whatever it's called. It's like the radio station, is it Hawkins radio station set, that comes with the exclusive Robin figure. Now, I got her name right this time because I couldn't remember her name in one of the previous videos that I was doing a review for Stranger Things. Robin, which is the girl I was working with Steve in, I think, season 2 or 3, when they're in the shopping mall. Anyway, that set comes with an exclusive version of Robin, and it's really annoying. They had it listed, and then for some reason, I don't know why, they obviously didn't explain why, they removed that from the site. There is still the Steve set with the van currently up on their site. I'm not sure if that's going to be removed as well, which is another annoying thing if they do that, because I'm looking forward to getting that set. It's supposed to be out this week, supposedly, between the 28th. It said between the 28th and the 3rd or 4th of November. So the 28th of October to the 3rd or 4th of November is when it said it was supposed to be released. What is also interesting is on the German version, because Smith's is kind of European in a sense. So there's a couple of different European sites. There's the Swiss, there's the UK, there's Germany. I think there's a couple of other ones. I think there's a Spanish one as well. I'm not too sure. I know there's German, because I've gotten a buddy of mine who's German to pick up a few things for me. There's actually another figure that isn't available on the Irish site, which is a version of Will. No, sorry, not Will. Mike. There's a version of Mike from this series, as in the new season that's coming out. This version of Mike up here, who's holding the torch. There is a version of him coming. I haven't seen it listed anywhere else. It's the only place I've seen it. So it is interesting to note that there is another figure on the way. So we're going to pause here. We're going to have a quick look at a figure. So here is the Dustin figure in all his glory. He is sporting his, well, I would say his new look, although it was kind of similar look that he had for the previous season, but his current look for the new season that is coming out, because I believe these are all based on that season. So you have a couple of accessories, some very small ones. You have the walkie-talkies. Now these are like, I wouldn't say standard, but they came with a lot of the figures. And so a lot of the actual older figures that were done into scale came with a walkie-talkies. Even the McFarlane figures, I think nearly all the McFarlane figures that were based on the first season all had a walkie-talkie, like those old retro 80s style walkie-talkies. He also comes with a torch. A couple of figures also came with a torch. This thing is very, very small. Let's see if I can get this thing to even focus up on it. Would be handy. Let's see if we can focus up. It is such a small accessory. It's barely 2 inches, I'd say, or an inch. And it has a small bit of paint apps. It has a little yellow light for the front, and then you have the orange for the side. Whereas the walkie-talkie, in fact, bring that up close, the walkie-talkie has no paint apps. It's just done in a grayish plastic. So there is some molding on it. Now let's see if we can get old Dustin back into focus. Come on, camera, focus up. There we go. So the other accessory it comes with is a backpack that is removable. So it is separate on the box. I just have it on him. So if I bring it up, it is a backpack. I don't think it has any storage capacity for his gear, but again, it's done in a more light gray, bluish gray plastic. So it is what it is. This thing is not wanting to focus for some reason. Yeah, there we go. So it is done in a more lightish bluey gray plastic, and it does have straps. What's interesting is when I bring in another figure that I have of Dustin, it kind of looks like the same backpack. So bear with me a moment when I try and focus on the figure. So we will have a look at his height. Bring in the old tape measure. So he is around that 3¼ inch scale. So he is just shy of 4 inches, which is in keeping with 3¼ inch. Before I do the articulation, I will do the comparison, because I might as well get that out of the way. And this is one of the figures I actually was able to find. I still cannot find my version of the Demogorgon, but this is the Funko Reaction style figure of Dustin. So they did back in the day, and I'm just going to drop my camera just a touch, just to get things a little bit more in perspective. So they did back in the day single card sets, I believe, but I picked them up as part of, there were 3 packs. So there was 2 3 packs, if I remember correctly. So there's one with Will, 11, and the Demogorgon. Actually, was it 3 packs or 2 3 packs? I believe there was only 2. So I think there was Will, 11, and the Demogorgon, and then you got Dustin, Lucas, and Mike, all in 3 packs. And then they had single carded versions of these figures, which I believe were exactly the same. Maybe they had some different accessories, but you can see they actually came with backpacks. And it almost looks like he's saved his black pack from season 1 to the current season. It's almost looks like it's the same backpack, but it is obviously a different pack. But they did it in almost the same coloring. It's obviously the other one's a little more darker gray blue, but it has that same kind of bluey gray look to it. But you can see the difference between the 2 figures. His lightness for the new one, I will say the lightness for these figures are not the best. So if I bring them up and just try and zoom in on them, come on, there we go. So I can see, like if I bring in the original figure, okay, obviously they're different ages, because between the first first season and the newest season, there's at least, I think it's nearly a 10-year gap from the filming point of view. So there's quite a difference in the age. So, and he's gotten, like when he first started out, he was a lot more, what would you say, chubby, and then he's, you know, the actor's grown over time, and obviously he's lost a lot of, he's become more slim. He still retains some of the same look as he had as a kid, but he's obviously grown, so he does look different to what he did when they first initially filmed or started filming the first season. So it's exactly the same like with the Harry Potter films. Obviously, like from, you know, Daniel Radcliffe being, I think, was he 14? Was he even 12? Actually, I can't remember what age he was when the first one came out, but he's now like nearly 20 something. So, and he had quite a different look between the first film and the last film. Again, you'll have the same with that because obviously the production over time, and, you know, it is what it is. But he does have this kind of trench coat on. He is sporting the Hellfire Club t-shirt, which is hearkening back to Eddie. If you remember that character, I would love to see them do an Eddie character. Because from what I can see, they are branching out, not just to this season. They are actually hitting the earlier seasons, because there is actually deluxe figures, and I've only seen them in the States. I haven't seen them available for sale over here, but I do want to pick them up. There is a deluxe version of Will, which comes with a bicycle, which is the kind of iconic thing they had in the first film, the first season, where all the kids were, you know, the typical 80s thing with the bikes. And there's also a version, I believe it's Mike. There's a version of Mike as well that they've done, which comes with a bike, and they're based off their earlier counterparts, which are these ones. Again, these are the Funko ones. So if I can get a set of those, I'm going to do a review of them so you can see them together. But we will move on to this guy's articulation, because we will not side coat it. His coat is a separate piece, so if you do want to pull it off, the only thing is you're left with the sleeves for the coat as his arms, so it does look a bit wonky. He doesn't have any waist articulation. His body is pretty much one block, similar to the old figure. It didn't have any waist articulation either. His head is on a ball joint, but because he has the kind of long mullety, is it mullet hair now? I'm not sure. He has long hair, and the baseball cap is not removable, so it does hinder his neck articulation a slight bit, not too much. Doesn't seem to get too bad in the way. His arms can go up that much. He will rotate all the way around. He has a single jointed elbow with a swivel. He has a wrist swivel with a hinge. He does hold his accessories kind of loosely. The torch is a little bit more looser than the walkie-talkie. The walkie-talkie is a bit more chunky, so he holds that better. The torch can be displayed in his hand, but I would suspect that it would fall out over time, even though it's not doing it now. But if you swap them around, because the other hand is more pushed out with the walkie-talkie, because it's a chunkier, it'll, you know, stretch out the hand a bit more. It means you will have a looser grip on that torch. He can do seating pose. He can do the splits, although his jacket does get in the way a bit. If you move the jacket out of the way, he can do the splits that much. He does have a single jointed knee with a sole. He has some good rocker ankle joints, and then he has a peg hole on one foot. So I'm not sure if they're intending to utilize some sort of base system or some sort of pegs on the playsets. Depending on how many playsets they do, I would love actually to see them do, oh, what's the name of the house? Will's mother's house. I'm trying to remember what Will's last name in the series was, but if they did the main house that was in most of the first 2-3 seasons, that would be kind of cool. Like if they're going to go deep into the lore and go into like all the different seasons and all the different characters that have been in the different seasons, kind of stuff I'd love to see would be a Bob figure. We can't forget Bob. One of the demo dogs. Hopefully they will do a set of demo bats, or demo bats, or whatever you want to call them. Well, I'd love to see them do the demo bats as maybe a multi-pack, having a bunch of small versions of them. But we will have him stand next to his not counterpart, but his wave mate, I suppose is the best way to put it, of the Demogorgon. So you can see the height of the Demogorgon. It does tower over him a bit. At least from my angle, it does. The head on the Demogorgon is a bigger, especially with the open mouth head. And I'm trying to see if I can find where I put the closed mouth head. Because it does come with the swappable head. I do not see it. So I'll just have to leave it for the moment until I can find it again. But we will do a kind of scale comparison with a bunch of other figures. So we'll bring these guys back a touch. We'll bring in some other figures. So we'll start off I'm going to just move these accessories out of the way as well. Start off the run with a Dungeons and Dragons figure because it seems fitting. Here is one of the Githyanki Dungeons and Dragons figures based on the old LGN and all the old classic kind of line. We'll bring in a Jurassic Park figure of someone who's, I think, might have been not around the same age character-wise when they first started, but kind of, you know, similar. This is the Lex figure from the Jurassic Park, was it the Kitchen Attack set, the one that comes with her and Tim and the Velociraptors. We'll bring in another version of Mike. Well, it's not Mike. This is the version of, is it Flint Wolfhard? Is that his name? The actor who plays Mike, but this is the 2017 It version of him, because he was in that film as well. We'll bring in Dr. Loomis from the Jurassic Park line. We shall also bring in April O'Neil from the TMNT line from Hot Toys, or not Hot Toys, from Joy Toy. And then we'll bring in a RoboCop figure from Hiya Toys. This is classic style Alex Murphy as opposed to the reboot version. So you can just see a few scale differences of how Dustin holds up to kind of other contemporary 3 3/4 or 1/18 scale. Actually saw it because I have him handy and he looks really cool. We'll move Mr. Githyanki over a small bit, and I guarantee you everything's going to go flying onto the ground, but we'll try and bring him in and drop him in. We will bring in Toka from the Joy Toy Turtles line, just so another kind of mutant monster style creature figure in conjunction with Dustin here. So if you want a really cool kind of civilian looking character and you're not a fan of the Stranger Things show, you could pick up Dustin and 11. Now the kind of annoying thing about the 11 figure is she has the face mask permanently attached to her face, as in like the bandit mask thing is permanently up on her face. There is another version of her which is in a 2-pack that comes with Hopper. I would say Chief Hopper, but by this stage he's no longer police chief, he's just Hopper. And that version of her has the face mask down, which is kind of cool. So there is, if you did really want some kind of, you know, background civilian characters, you could pick up some of the other figures in this line. I do have a bunch of other figures. In fact, okay, so Funko did another set of figures, and I'm going to bring them in because I really like them. They're actually really good, and I think they work well for kind of civilian characters. But I'm going to bring them in. They do have that kind of more articulation. They're a bit more, because of the reaction line, they're more kind of, I wouldn't say realistic, but they're more, you know, they have that kind of retro style look. So I'm going to see if we can get everyone to stand, because I think it's kind of an awesome set. Unfortunately, it's quite hard set to get nowadays, so hopefully everyone will stand. Some people have kind of a hard time standing. Just have to put is it Kelly, I think her name is, and try and see if I can get her in the corner here. And ta-da! I know it's kind of cluttering, but we'll just bring in the Married with Children set. So you got Al, Peg, Kelly, and what was his son's name again? I can't remember his son's name. But yeah, it's all for them minus the dog, because the dog, they didn't do the dog as part of the set. Would have been cool if they had put the dog. Was it Buster? I think the dog was called. Would have been kind of funny if they had the dog as the set as well. Bud, that was it. Bud was, I think, the son's name, unless that was just what he called him, but I think it was Bud. So yes, so if you want kind of civilian-y looking characters, that's kind of a really good go-to. But all in all, Dustin is quite a good figure. He's quite articulated for what he is. He's more articulated than his previous counterpart, which he has the arms can go out like that and single joint elbow, but nothing wrist, nothing in the ankles, and only has hinges with no swivels, so you can't swivel the elbow or the knee. So there's improvement in the articulation compared to the older figure. I know there are two different companies that made the figures, but there is a slight difference in how they were conceived and put together. So it is interesting to see that. So all in all, I do recommend picking up some of these Stranger Things figures if you can get more of the cast. Unfortunately, I'm limited to who I can pick up here unless I go eBay route or Amazon route or any of those other e-tailers, which I might have to kind of pick up some of the other sets. But all in all, I do like this Dustin figure. He's quite good, and he would make a good basis for a custom as well. So if you were to pop the head off and maybe swap it around with other figures, you could make some interesting custom figures and then repaint the body too, because it's a white shirt. It gives you a good base for repainting. Obviously the decal is on it, but you could probably sand that off a bit if you wanted to make it just a plain white shirt and then repaint. So getting a bit sidetracked, but we'll get finish this up here. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. As always, I do tend to ramble when I'm getting off track, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and it's been interesting to watch and has been informative. So please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, all those likes and all the likes and shares help build my channel base. So please hit that and keep it going. So thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video wherever you are in the world. And again, thanks for your time.